Welcome to Your Healing Era, a podcast for artists, creatives, healers, anyone living outside the traditional mold who's searching beyond the conventional forms of healing. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and rate the podcast. Thanks for being here, and let's dive into today's episode. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm very happy and honored to introduce today's guest, Yaron Edel. He's the founder and CEO of Helem Club, which is an organization based in Israel. He's a speaker, podcaster, educator, and has done incredible work to raise awareness around PTSD and support folks with PTSD. So welcome, Yaron. Really good to have you here.
Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the nice intro as well.
You're welcome. We'll start from the end and then go to the beginning. So the first thing I wanted to congratulate you and hear how you feel about it is you recently posted about a settlement agreement you have signed with Meuchedet, which is one of the main health services in Israel. You want to tell us about the dispute and what came out of it?
Yeah, sure. Well, part of my rehabilitation is I've been assigned a service dog, Ruby. She's sleeping in the next room. And Ruby helps me as part of my recovery program. She helps me sleep. She wakes me up from nightmares. She knows how to calm me down when I'm really stressed and anxious. I'm supposed to go with her everywhere in the public sphere. I had a foot-ache. My foot was painful, so I went to a doctor, or at least I made an appointment at the doctor. And I went with Ruby, and I was with an expectation that, being a disabled person with a service dog in a doctor's office, no, it wasn't supposed to be such a problem. The doctor was not aware of the law, just asked me to go out of the room with Ruby, even though I was polite to explain to him that he's horribly wrong. He continued with this aggressive approach. So this was the first event. I had a second event of the same nature with two nurses. Who I went to have a medical checkout, and the nurses asked me as well to go out with my dog out of the clinic. It's against the law. I mean, Ruby is allowed to go wherever I want. There is a very small list of places who are not who I cannot enter with Ruby. It's like an operation room, like a clean room at a factory, like very extreme conditions. So 99% of the places are open to me, 0.9. So in that aspect, Meuchedet didn't provide me the services as a disabled person as I'm supposed to get them, and discriminate me in the way that they give service. So I sued them with the help of Agmon and Tulchinsky. It's a big law firm here in Israel who took my case pro bono. They do this. They help people. And after, 3.5 years since the first event, we signed an agreement to end this legal proceeding, in which part of the agreement is secretive, so I cannot refer to it, and the other part is about all the changes they are going to do within their operation. So they already did a lot of changes to the way they give service. They updated the training of their employees, and we are building a cooperation together with Helem Club, the NGO I am leading, to create even more tailor-made services to people with PTSD within the medical services that Meuchedet gives. So that's like the short version.
That's in a nutshell. So yeah, you basically got refused to receive medical care because they didn't allow you in with your service dog, which is your right legally.
Exactly.
So I guess it's like a pretty big win, just to win and just to raise awareness amongst practitioners who don't know how to handle these situations.
I would like to correct you. I have to say I don't like the term awareness. I think it gives people a false sense of accomplishment. And I prefer behavior change. I like to see behavior of people, of an organization changing. I think awareness is just the first step and it's not enough. So what I am measuring myself by is did their behavior change or not? It seems that yes, but times will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah. Thanks for the correction. So yeah, behavior change. Yeah, I have friends with service dogs, and it's tricky sometimes.
Yeah.
So going back, can you talk a little bit about your personal journey with PTSD?
Yeah, sure, we can do that.
We
Uh,
we
I've
don't have
been
to.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I've been dealing with PTSD since my army service. I drafted in 2002. The beginning of 2002 here in Israel was a turbulent time. A lot of terror attacks, a lot of instability, as we normally have here in Israel, but it was just a peak of one of the peaks of violence. I served for 5 years in the army. I was an infantry officer. I've done some crazy stuff in the army, been in some crazy places. Sometimes I don't believe that I've done some of the stuff I did. And I finished my army service right after the Second Lebanon War, which was also a big event. Technically speaking, I was dealing with PTSD from that moment onwards. But it took me another 10 years to actually start treating it, or more specifically, define myself as a person dealing with PTSD, which is actually the first important step to understand you have a problem, own it, and figure out what the hell you're gonna do with it. So, each person has a different strategy, a different approach, different first steps, different resources available to him. But what is important, imperative, and basically similar to all rehabilitation processes is the fact that you need to own this injury that you have and take decisions based on this new definition you have for yourself. And so that took me, as I said, 10 years to own it. In those 10 years, I was leading a double life. On the one hand, hyper functional, doing stuff. Yeah, I ran election and I did like consultancy and I did all the bunch of stuff, work in education, international consultancy. From the outside, I seem like, a person who has achieved quite a lot of things and can be successful from the outside, but I led a double life. Not sleeping, fighting with the people I love, a lot of avoidance of meeting people of different food, different places. Like the whole symptoms. And I was really trying to put on a mask when I got out in public, when I went to work, when I went to school. But those masks, it's only a timely thing. They break in the end. And my mask broke the first time in 2014, right after the Tzuk military operation. I put myself out there in a very not smart way. I was talking to a lot of reservists back then. Like in 2 or 3 months, I met like, I don't know, 20, 25 people to one-on-one talks. It's like I did a lot of harm to myself. So that brought me to the precipice and I fell. So this was like my first falling, let's call them. The second one was 2 years afterwards. So I didn't build good enough infrastructure to have a more stable life and not fall that steep. So I had another big fall in the end of 2017, the beginning of 18. That really changed my life completely. I got divorced, I got fired. A good friend of mine passed away all in 3 months or in 2 months.
Wow.
So needed to find a new apartment, a new job, a new everything. So that was like the one of the definitive moments in my recovery. I started like claiming benefits from the government in 2017 and finished the process 2 years ago. So it was quite a long time. There was different steps in it, but generally I finished the process 2 years ago. I believe that the main thing that will help me feel better is if I manage my routine it means that having people I love I meet constantly is important to me. Having hobbies is important to me. Today I'm supposed to play soccer, football. No, anyway, I have like my leg still hurts, so I won't play today. But it's like the hobby is an important part of me smiling. It's like an important smiling institution in my week. So it's a big part of it, like sleeping, eating, having all those routines really structured and really communicated to myself is the strategy that I chose that works best for me. And obviously, I'm doing all kinds of medical stuff as well, like cannabis and therapy. And I tried a lot of different stuff as well over the years.
That's incredible that you're finding some things that are supportive. So for those who don't know, I really like your approach. I heard you speak before about like what PTSD is, because some people think, oh, it's just a mental issue, but I like how you talk about like how it's just an actual change to your brain.
Yeah, sure. It's an important message for me. I mean, the moment I realized that PTSD shouldn't be called a mental issue, it should be called a brain injury, was a big revealing for me, for myself. It helps me overcome a barrier of shame that I had about myself. Having mental issues imply that your personality is flawed. And the term mental is not quite clear what it means. In Hebrew, we have an even more not clear term. We use the term, I'll translate it, soul, the
Right.
soul, so it's soul illness. Where is the soul? Like physically in the body, where is it? You don't know. Like mental, maybe you can even, like go here,
Or
obviously.
like the thinking mind, but yeah, but so yeah, I know.
So we try to actually use medical terms and try to look at research and gap those words who are not tangible, who are not clear, who are hard to identify with. You look at research, trauma changes the brain, like physically. You see like pictures of functional MRI of a brain of a person with PTSD who is resting, and a brain of a person without PTSD who is also resting. And you see like the non-PTSD guy, his brain is like blue and nice and nice colors and stuff. And the brain of the person with PTSD in who is resting is like red and and orange, and like a lot of thoughts and actions are happening inside his head. Different part of the brain are triggered. So just like to try to make it more tangible, it's a brain injury, changes how the brain functions. And we believe that if we will call this a brain injury, we will help people go to therapy, because it's easier to take care of an injury than to take care of a mental condition or
Right.
disorder. It's even worse. Like the PTSD, the D part is a disorder.
Right.
No, we should call it PTSI, post-traumatic stress injury.
Yeah.
Easier.
I know people here in the US that talk about it as in post-traumatic physiology. That's a term I really like.
Uh,
Instead of post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic physiology. Hey, I'm gonna pause for just a minute because I really gotta tell you about this. If you're feeling called to go deeper on this work, and if you're a woman who loves making music or exploring sound, writing songs, and expressing yourself creatively, I'm leading a retreat in Mexico this summer. It's an intimate, immersive week of embodied healing and creative expansion. We'll have a professional recording studio on site. We'll be writing, producing, dancing, practicing yoga, meditating, swimming in the ocean, all the things. So really living inside our bodies and inside our art. If this is calling you, all the details are below. We have limited spots and we have early bird pricing, so go check it out. And if Mexico isn't happening for you right now, I also have a free nervous system regulation tool that you can explore at home in your own time. And if you're ready for something more structured, my full nervous system sorcery course is also available. Everything is linked below. All right, let's get back to the episode.
I mean, I understand why this terms works. I have to say, from a shame point of view, it's still a long way from helping people overcome this barrier of shame.
Mhm.
Like it needs to be very simple and clear, and in terms that, people, the person I'm thinking a lot about, and my parents, like, they never been to a psychologist. Okay, and a lot of people are like that. They never been to a psychologist. They don't have people in their lives who are going to psychologists or any kind of therapy.
So there's like a lot of shame around it, or
Yes, so like the barriers there is like much more higher. So the way that we're thinking of words and terms is not the medical correctness of the term, but we want to be correct. It's not that I'm saying we don't want to be correct. I'm just saying we're thinking more like PR people than like psychiatrists. Like what will sell the actual thing we want them to buy, right?
so
Like
that
build
people
the,
get help.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because a lot of I guess the initial step that people have to go through if they're struggling is to actually admit that something's wrong and actually reach out for help. And then obviously there's a lot of process after that because I've listened to your podcast, and if anyone's a Hebrew speaker, I highly recommend because it's in Hebrew. But you basically have a lot of guys, friends, I don't know if they're friends or fellow PTSD post-combat ex-soldiers, and you discuss what you're going through. And I've heard a bunch of the discussions were about the frustration around the process of even getting recognized and receiving the aid to get support from the military or from the medical system.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a problem that's unique to Israel. I have to say that from what I read and heard, the states are dealing with the same kind of issue, but the systems are designed differently. So, like the same problem have different manifestations. In Israel, um, we have a cultural thing about the importance of the military. So military commanders feel obliged to rehabilitate their own soldiers. So the rehabilitation ministry, so-called, like the VA in the US, like the Veterans Affairs Office, is not an office, it's actually an organizational unit within the Ministry of Defense. So that creates a lot of problems. First of all, it's the Ministry of Defense, so it means that they need high level of cryptography and a high level of digital security. So it creates a whole problem in all the human interactions, because you need to go through this maze of bad UI, bad user interface, bad user experience, a lot of bureaucracy, and employees who are not equipped to deal with the people they are trying to help. So that creates like a big unused, okay, I'm going to say it in a different way. 14% of the budget, the mental health budget in the Ministry of Defense, should be go to people with PTSD, is being utilized. 14%. It means that 86% is not, nobody uses it. Just to show you how big this problem is, like 14% of the money that exists.
Like the money is there, but the system is just not working.
Yeah, the system is not working at all.
That's
Like
frustrating.
yeah.
So you went and started Helem Club. Can you tell us about this organization, what it's about?
Of course. Helem Club is a movement of people with PTSD for people with PTSD. We are building a rehabilitation system from the point of view of the survivor. This rehabilitation system try to solve, in our opinion, the biggest problem of recovery, the fragmented process of recovery. Every step in recovery is disconnected to the other one. Any service provider is disconnected to the other one, and everything should be connected. We, as people with PTSD, have to run operations on our recovery. we need to move receipts, and we need to ask for documents, and we need to appoint. And this is like asking of a person with physical disability to go up the stairs. Helem Club, a movement of people with PTSD, for people with PTSD. We're building a system to try and close the gap that there is in the recovery process that is very fragmented. And we do this by connecting 6 different parts to one holistic process. First one will be early stage identification. It means that 90% of people with PTSD do not treat themselves. We developed a methodology, a digital marketing methodology that allow us to approach people before even they define themselves as a person with PTSD, and help them emotionally make this first step from total denial to, okay, I might have this problem, let's go and check it. So this is the first step, early identification. The second part, we call it onboarding. Like the first step of the process is a very confusing one. So I define myself as a person with PTSD. Now what? Okay, now what I need to do? I need to choose therapy, right? I need to understand what kind of approach, maybe medications, maybe government rights and benefits. Maybe I take part in some social activities. I just don't know what to do. And this first step is very, very overwhelming. So the second feature, you can call it, of the system is an onboarding process for the medical solutions and for government benefits. The third part is a routine management system. So if you see, it's like chronological. We start from the early stage identification, onboarding. Now that you have onboarded, you have a therapist, you started to claim your benefit rights. You move to the routine management part, in which we help you manage your therapy, your relationship with your therapist, medication, renewals of
Prescriptions.
thank you, the social life, and employment, which is a very big part of the routine management. And we have a very interesting approach in employment. Those 3 steps are connected to 3 other features, which hold hand to the person with PTSD throughout those 3-step process. So the first one is community support. We believe that peer-to-peer support is the most scalable way to give in good feedback and good help during the recovery process. So we built a community of 1,500 people with PTSD, highly engaged with the content, with each other, creating a lot of posts, of reviews, community support. The second feature will be that goes together with the person with PTSD is a product marketplace. You need different service providers, you need different medication, you need answers. So we are creating a marketplace to connect to all this process. And the third part is data and monitoring. We want to help you understand what's happening in your recovery process. So using the data we are learning about you, we help you learn about yourself back. And in this process, we try to create a holistic approach, not intrusive and not without an agenda. Like the agenda is you try to get good. You don't like, for example, conventional medicine. Great. We are not saying that you should do only conventional medicine. Just do it in a safe way. And let's try and help you to connect you to people who are professionals and not, just, random people with good intentions. So this whole process, this whole system, we believe can create a big change in rehabilitation. We are seeing now in our community a culture shift in which people with PTSD are taking responsibility on their recovery and helping others in their recovery journey. And we want to scale this operation to infinity, basically.
That's incredible. That's incredible. So if I may ask you about October 7th, if how the events affected you personally or all this work that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, October 7 is a historical event, tragical and horrible, and all the events that followed afterwards. October 7 found us in a campaign for our first product, we can call it. We built the funnel, the first funnel of early identification. So we created content that helped people go through their emotional process and land in our community. So we were in the process of launching this stuff.
Oh, already before.
Yeah. On the 21st of September was the launch date, 2023. So we were already, moving stuff, doing stuff, being out there. On the morning of October 7, 2 hours after all hell break loose, I started getting phone calls from reservists because I'm kind of a public figure in terms of PTSD and stuff like this. So people feel comfortable talking with me. And since like 10 o'clock on Saturday, October 7, I've been like in 2 weeks of intense phone call. Those phone calls were from reservists who were having panic attacks because they know they are going to the war. So we were giving help and support to those people during those 2 weeks. The second thing that October 7 bring with it is a change in funding. Before October 7, nobody cared about PTSD. Like, nobody cared about PTSD. I can say it with a lot of confidence. I tried to raise money. Nobody wanted to meet me. Like, I have data about it. Like, I did a lot of meetings with no conversion at all. And October 7 changed that. Like, people understood like the magnitude of the horrors and the implication of that kind of impact on our mental health and on our brains. And a lot of funding has been flowing to this ecosystem. So we raised some emergency funding and been building what I just described you. So this is like the second big change of October 7. Third one is that we grew. We grew from a community of 350 people to 1,500 people. In a very organic and peer-led approach. We can grow much faster and bigger, but we choose not to because we need to figure out this culture of peer-to-peer support in order to make it scalable. So we're happy with the speed
with the size, yeah.
The size.
That's amazing. So yeah, I could put a link to in the show notes if anyone's feeling touched or anyone feeling called to support your organization, and this cause is incredible. And I'll put the link so they can donate or see how they can get involved or anything.
Thank you. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So I know some awareness is increasing. I know you don't like the word awareness, so maybe some behavioral change, some awareness increasing around PTSD in Israel. And I would say in general around the world also, I think it's increasing, like just more emphasis on trauma resolution, treatment, and just, growing up in Israel myself, not in Jerusalem like yourself, but just growing up in the 90s in itself had a very deep effect on me. And as an adult, I became really interested in trauma resolution work, like healing, for various reasons, but I'm very interested and fascinated about the whole topic of collective trauma and intergenerational trauma. And I also heard you speak about the difference between cultural PTSD and medical PTSD. So what are your thoughts about all of this?
Interesting topic. So medical PTSD would be a person filling out a form and do an intake interview with a therapist and cross this threshold from a general person of the general population to a person with disability and with PTSD. So
like an official diagnosis.
Yeah, this is a threshold of the medical PTSD part. And I'm saying this not because the medical shouldn't be wider and bigger, but this is what de facto is happening now today. Like the medical part of PTSD starts only when a person comes and asks for help, not before. So this is a very strong barrier. The way that people look at PTSD is medical today. It's a very small prism to look at this problem. I'll make a populist statement and say that basically the medical approach is saying that 45 minutes a week is what you need. right? Like a therapist is 45 minutes a week. You go 45 minutes a week, and eventually you'll be great. Basically, this is what the medical approach are telling people with PTSD. Even though some therapists you will say you need to exercise, you need to eat, you need to sleep. Yeah, but these good tips. It's not a system. It's not, behavioral change. And when you look at PTSD from a cultural point of view, you look at the danger affected behavior that it's happening in Israeli society or in all societies, but I don't know well of other societies, so I'll focus on Israel. Like when you look at the Holocaust as one of the most cultural important events in Israeli history, and when I'm saying cultural importance, it means that it shaped our behavior years afterwards, like in a very deep fashion. And you took this Holocaust narrative and you connect it with the general Jewish narrative, which is in Hebrew, we say, Ba'im alenu lechalotenu. A loose translation will be, our enemies are coming to kill us all the time and we need to be prepared. This can sum up the whole Jewish religion in like one sentence.
They're coming for us.
Yeah. And this is a PTSD narrative. This is a post-traumatic narrative. It means that all ideas, all behaviors will be PTSD oriented because this is the most important idea, right? So all my reaction will be as if I have PTSD. And then you see like political clashes and you see because everything is danger. Everything is, a big bad wolf coming to get me. Everything. And so when you look at PTSD from a cultural point of view, I mean, I feel it changes the way I understand the world. When you look at it from a cultural point of view, you see all this occurrence of danger management in all of the culture. And it's something, in my opinion, that is very deeply rooted in our culture and is one of the main driving factor of this so-called mental health crisis we're entering it now. So in order to solve PTSD, it's not enough to have good doctors. You need to have good music, good movies, good politicians, good signs in the street. It's not only medication, it's a holistic thing because it's all about danger management. And this is like what really disrupt our cultural thinking and our society as a whole.
That leads me to what I was going to ask you about next, which if anyone listening to us now who struggles with PTSD, I was wondering what you already shared quite a few things that could be helpful, like community support, which is huge, like peer-to-peer support for yourself. You said like a regular schedule and relationships and hobbies that you like to do. What have you found the most helpful and supportive for people to do?
Have a friend with PTSD and meet him like on a monthly, weekly matter. Having a friend who is going through the same general barriers and obstacles is very helpful. I would say, from my point of view, is the most helpful. It's a great way to learn and to believe what is taught. Like, for example, I have a friend now who is taking part in the MDMA experiment. He's my close friend since I was a child. So, what he will tell me, I believe it's like better information than any doctor. You know what I'm saying? Like, he will convince me to go and do this treatment if I feel I need to, not a doctor. So having this friend who's going through the same obstacle, the same process, the same question as you, I find it the most effective, cheap way to feel better.
Yeah, because so many people are like alone in their struggle.
Yeah, so
and everyone thinks that everyone else is doing fine and you're like in your own, drowning in your own stuff.
And your own sorrow and your own tears. Yeah. So go and find like a friend, connect yourself to a community. Yeah, be vulnerable because you need to connect to people. And if you feel alone, the only way to connect is to be vulnerable.
I love that. And then something I struggle with personally, and I wonder if you found any resolution with that, is nightmares. Just like a lot of intense dreams, a lot of nightmares. Like
I don't think I have one of the biggest symptoms I'm dealing with a lot of times. So the main motivation for me to bring Ruby, my service dog, was this. She wakes me up from nightmares. This is like the number one feature. So this solved for me the problem.
That's amazing.
So it's a very aggressive solution, and it works. And I feel also safe because she sleep with me in my bed, and I feel like she's, guarding me while I sleep. And she's cute also, so it's nice.
I just need to get a dog then.
Yeah. The second thing that helps me with nightmares is actually cannabis, because you dream less. Just technically, you dream less. And so it's also something that's been working for me. And therapy, dealing with the questions head on, it's also been helpful for me.
That's so great. I also heard you talk about having fun, doing stuff, just fun.
Yeah. I told you about the hobby. So it's like, a chemical reason. You want those good hormones be, in your brain. So you need to have fun. You need to do things that make you smile. You need to be childish. You need to play games.
Yeah, to be at play, it's like the opposite of being in threat response, right? Like if you're constantly in danger mode, when you're in play mode, it's like the medicine.
It is. It's like feeling the best as you were as a kid, and just be focused on something that has no repercussion in the real world, and having fun with people and joke. I know every person dealing with PTSD should find like a hobby that he put a lot of effort in. I started to cook, for example, which I'm also putting a lot of effort and interest in. And just having those small topics, those small hours that I'm focusing on cutting the garlic, like that. Okay. My mind clears, and it's like a healthy behavior.
So there's hope.
I don't like this word, but yeah, there is hope. I don't like it, but yes, there is hope.
What's a better word, or what's
hard work? Just hard work. Like, accept the fact that you need to do uncomfortable work, and expectations need to be managed. It's very hard to feel good. I would not even say that I am there yet. I'm not. It's a struggle. And I feel that, in terms of hope, just know that if you work hard, you can feel better. That will be like a bit lower expectation than there is a hope to feel better. No, you need to work hard, and it's a lot of tears and blood and, sweat.
I guess by hope, I meant like you believe things can get better for you. Do you think other people can get better?
So you're right. On that note, you are right. Yeah, I do believe that people can get better. I do believe that people can help each other. I do believe that the main medication is just relationship between people. And hopefully I'll have the means to foster that and scale it.
Amen. If people want to find more about you or get in touch or anything, is there anything we should know?
Yeah, sure. So Helem.club is the website that you should visit if you're a Hebrew speaker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, HELEM.club. We do have some English pages, but it's more like donation oriented. But in terms of content, so we have a lot of content in Hebrew. Some content have subtitles, English subtitles. So feel free also to see this. You can write me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media you feel comfortable with. Feel free to ask questions, and I'll do my best to answer.
Cool. So I will add those links to your institution and everything else for people. Awesome. Yaron, it was such a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for hosting me, and thank you for a very pleasant conversation.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If this episode resonated, send it to a friend, share it in your stories, or take a moment to rate the podcast and subscribe. It genuinely helps this little baby podcast grow organically and reach to the people that it needs to reach. I really appreciate every comment and every review. And as always, if you want to go deeper, my course, retreat, and free resources are all linked below. This is your healing era. Take care, and I'll see you next time.